Jonathan Rutherford's cold blue eyes fixed on Jessica Martinez in the luxurious living room. "What exactly are you accusing me of?" the 28-year-old asked steadily. "Of manipulating my children," Jonathan exploded. "Mason and Tyler were born with severe cerebral palsy. They never spoke, never moved, and suddenly after you arrived, they're responding. Jessica had been hired 6 weeks ago with impeccable references. Dr. Williams showed me this recording. You talking to them, singing songs my late wife used to sing. How do you know these songs?" Caroline's death during childbirth had turned Jonathan into a fortress of bitterness. "Mr. Rutherford, your sons aren't vegetables. They feel, they hear, they recognize voices. You're paid to clean, not play doctor," Jonathan yelled. From the hallway came a faint but deliberate moan. Jonathan froze. "Perhaps we should check on the boys," Jessica said. "I think they want to join this conversation." Jonathan marched to the twins' room. Mason was sitting up alone, something doctors said was impossible. Tyler held a toy, his fingers moving deliberately. "This contradicts 3 years of diagnosis," Jonathan murmured. Jessica approached Mason, who stretched his arms toward her. "Hello, my love." The boy made an affirmative sound. Tyler responded similarly, eyes shining with recognition. "When was the last time you really spent time with your children?" Jessica asked. "Not medical reports, but sitting here talking to them." The question hit hard. Since Caroline's death, he'd turned the boys into patients, not children. "I have responsibilities," he stammered. "Of course. It's easier to pay others to face what you can't." Tyler looked directly at his father and reached out a trembling hand. Jonathan recoiled. "The doctor said there's no real consciousness." "Do you know the difference between me and these expensive specialists?" Jessica asked, rocking Tyler. "I never doubted they were whole people trapped in bodies that don't fully cooperate." Jonathan noticed the transformed room, colorful drawings, scattered toys, children's music playing. "You changed this without permission." "I changed this from a hospital to a home," Jessica corrected. "Your sons have distinct personalities. Mason prefers stories. Tyler loves when I sing. They have preferences, feelings." "My wife said they could hear everything," Jonathan began, voice catching. "She was right. The question is, are you ready to listen back?" Mason turned to his father and made a sound dangerously close to Daddy. Jonathan felt tears burning. Over 2 weeks, Jonathan hired 3 new specialists. All reached the same conclusion. The progress was clinically impossible. Dr. Patricia Morgan, Caroline's colleague, watched Jessica work for 2 hours. "How many children with similar diagnoses were in your previous work?" Jessica hesitated. "A few." Jonathan investigated Jessica's references. The first number was disconnected. The second family had no children. The third told him their son Thomas had been misdiagnosed and slowly poisoned by incorrect medication. Jessica documented everything and helped us prove medical malpractice. "We won $1 million lawsuit. The doctor lost his license." Jessica wasn't just a caregiver. She identified medical errors and documented evidence for legal proceedings. The next morning, Jessica sat at the kitchen table with her notebook and organized papers. "Good morning, Mr. Rutherford. I believe we have a lot to talk about." She opened her laptop. "What I'm about to show you could destroy your trust in people you've considered friends for years." Jessica slid the first document across, the twins' original medical records with handwritten notes. "Dr. Patterson made these observations 3 weeks after the boys were born." Jonathan read, "Neurological reflexes within normal parameters. Recommend reassessment in 90 days. Then, Rutherford family. Requested more conservative. Diagnosis due to life insurance and trust fund. Implications." Jessica played an audio. Recording. Dr. Patterson's voice. "Between us, these boys always had potential for significant recovery, but Jonathan was emotionally fragile. I thought it easier for him to accept permanent disability. Of course, there's also the $50 million trust fund Caroline left for lifelong medical care. If they recovered fully, that money would revert to charity." Jonathan dropped his coffee. Jessica played another recording, Dr. Stevens talking to Patterson. "How much longer do you need this charade?" The boys are clearly responding. Patterson. "Jonathan will never question it. He needs to believe they're permanently disabled. And $200,000 a year split among our network isn't bad." Jessica revealed an organizational chart. 12 doctors, all charging exorbitant fees to keep your children in artificial disability. She showed bank transfers. Patterson $180,000, Stevens $95,000, Chun $120,000. For 3 years, they stole my children's development. The door opened. A prosecutor and federal agents entered. Dr. Richard Patterson, you're under arrest for conspiracy, medical fraud, and child abuse. As handcuffs clicked, Jonathan felt absolute hope. Jessica spread prescriptions across the table. Clonazepam in doses that would cause coma. Risperidone for agitation they never showed. Drugs preventing normal development. Toxicology tests showed alarming sedative levels. For 3 years, your children were kept in chemical stupor to sustain a fraud. Industry. Jonathan's phone rang. Dr. Patterson. Would you rather hear about my conversation with District Attorney Santos scheduled this afternoon first? Jessica handed him a business card. Systemic medical fraud, intentional child neglect, conspiracy. Dr. Patterson and his network will face at least 15 years each. The tablet showed recent recordings. The twins alert, responsive, almost normal. This is from yesterday after I gradually reduced the toxic medications, replacing them with harmless vitamins. Mason clearly said, Jess. Tyler tried standing, legs trembling, but determined. The doorbell rang. Dr. Patterson for his weekly consultation. Perfect timing. Let him in, Jonathan said, voice transformed. I want to look into the eyes of the man who stole 3 years of my children's lives. Patterson entered confidently, then froze, seeing Jessica, the documents, the recordings. What's going on? What's happening is I've discovered what you've been doing to my children, Jonathan replied. We were protecting you. The truth that my children could be walking, talking, being normal if you hadn't spent 3 years drugging them. Children's laughter echoed from the hallway. Patterson froze. Impossible. Jessica stood. Dr. Patterson, would you like to meet Prosecutor Santos? She's eager to discuss your unconventional methods. 6 months later, the mansion was transformed. Children's laughter, footsteps, and daddy echoed through walls. Mason and Tyler, now 4, were running, speaking complete sentences, demonstrating impressive intelligence. Mason ran up with a drawing. I drew our family. 4 figures, Daddy, Mason, Tyler, and Jessica with a paper crown. Jessica is our queen. She saved us. The court was relentless. Patterson received 18 years, Stevens 15. Chun lost her license with 12 years. 12 professionals faced 20 years. The civil suit resulted in $85 million, the largest pediatric malpractice settlement in state history. The case created new national protocols. The Rutherford Protocol, requiring independent second opinions for permanent disability diagnoses in children. How many families do you think we saved? Hundreds, maybe thousands. The network operated in 7 states, victimizing dozens of families. You knew from day one, Jonathan said. Jessica nodded. I recognized the signs. I'd seen it before. Why didn't you tell me right away? You wouldn't have believed me. You needed to see for yourself. That night, Jonathan found Jessica in the kitchen. I want you to direct the charitable foundation, identify other children, train professionals, create protection protocols. On one condition, Jessica said, that the boys always know they can count on me. You don't understand, Jonathan said, voice catching. The adoption papers were approved this morning. You're officially their legal mother if you want to be. Jessica's tears finally fell. I want to. From the hallway, we heard everything. Is Jessica our real mom now? If she wants to be. I want to, Jessica repeated, opening her arms. At that moment, Jonathan realized he'd gained more than justice. He'd gained a real family built on love, dedication, and courage. 3 years later, the Jessica Rutherford Foundation had helped over 200 families uncover misdiagnosis and fraud. Jessica became an internationally recognized speaker. The twins, now 7, were completely normal, exceptionally intelligent, and emotionally secure. Dr. Patterson was still serving his sentence, with plenty of time to reflect on how his greed destroyed innocent lives and his own existence. Jessica's story proves that sometimes the person everyone underestimates has the power to change everything. She turned 3 years of injustice into a lifetime of purpose, saving not only Mason and Tyler, but hundreds of other children.